Hey guys, so we just got this set of orthotics here today, and these are for a child with hypermobility disorder. What that means is that their foot is extremely flexible, way past what normal limits would be. And when you're that flexible, a lot of the time you'll end up with increased fatigue, soreness in legs, hips, back, which is obviously very unusual for a child to have. But because it's so flexible, it makes it extremely unstable, and that causes a lot of the muscles then to have to work extra hard in order to be able to stabilize that foot to kind of do those regular activities such as running or walking, where that foot has to become more rigid as you go and toe off through there. So the prescription that we've got through here is around about a 21 millimeter arch height. We've then got a 2 millimeter base, and then we've got a 2.5 millimeter arch bar through here. So if you can see that a little bit more, so we've got that thick arch bar running through, quite a thin shell, and then it's also got that little bit of flexibility just within it as well. So with child's feet, or with any feet, ideally I don't want to completely stop the foot from working, so we want that kind of natural motion through there. When they come down and land on that heel, this foot, although it's very hypermobile, it's not too pronated, so it's not too collapsed in through there. So that's again why we haven't got too much of a big angle on this, so that's about a 4-degree tilt outwards on this. We've got that bit of flexibility through the heel to kind of allow that foot just to kind of roll in a little bit, but then what we've done is we've got the arch bar which then firms up through the arch area a lot. So the foot collapses in that little bit. Because of that hyper flexibility, it allows the foot still to move, but then we've got something that's a little bit more, a little bit less flexible through this area, just to support and stabilize that midfoot and underneath that arch to stop it from going over too much. Now, when kids are very flexible, they can adapt to different places a lot easier. So if you have a slightly more aggressive orthotic or a higher arch height, because it's so flexible, it can conform to the actual shell itself, which means that sometimes you can afford to have slightly higher arches or slightly more aggressive shell shapes if needed, obviously in that prescription. With this shell here, we're not going too aggressive, as you can kind of see, but we're doing enough there just to kind of stop as much of that overuse and that fatigue that client is getting towards doing more sport and more activity towards the end of the day. This is a client that's been coming to see me now for quite a long time, so from year to year we kind of see the results of what we had in the previous year, and once you get to know that client and that person a little bit more often, you'll be able to obviously be able to tell what they can tolerate and what works within those orthotic shells. So where it's a child and the foot grows from year to year, we know how much of a arch height that we want to give them, how much of a rear angle to give them, because we know what's worked in the past. Okay, so we're just going to cover the orthotics now. We're going to start off with our base. So with our base, we're just going to grab that piece of fabric and we're just going to mark off on the bottom where we want the glue to get that nice straight line across that bottom there, and up the sides as well. Perfect, there's one, and the second one we're going to do exactly the same. So line off through the bottom, pop our glue on, make sure we get those sides as well, and then we can finish off that line through there. Alright, I'm going to glue up the bottom of our fabric. So this is going to go on the base of the orthotic, and that creates a little bit of extra durability through there to stop the top cover from peeling up quite as much. Alright, now with these we're using an EVA cover, and the advantage of EVA cover is it's non-water absorbent, super easy to clean, which makes it great for kids especially. That's the last thing that you want to do, is come back and have a bit of a smelly orthotic through there. So EVA, yeah, it doesn't absorb as much moisture through there, really easy to clean, really easy to spray your antibacterial stuff over it, just to make sure that obviously you don't pick up any little infections. The other thing with EVA is it's not too overly soft through there, so we've got to pay attention to not having the orthotics necessarily too soft. The softer that the orthotics itself are, the more unstable that it's going to be through there. So with that hypermobility and hypermobile foot, if we add extra flexibility or softness, obviously that softness is going to lead to more instability, which we don't want. So that's the big mistake that people have sometimes, thinking that if they've got sore feet and ankles and legs that they need extra cushioning, when in reality it's actually the opposite, because we want to create that stability through there to reduce the muscles being overworked and overused. And that's why most of the time through here we use these 3D printed devices, because we can tailor the flexibility within them. So if we want someone who wants a slightly softer orthotic, we give them something that's a little bit more flexible through there, and then we can add the soft top covers that they kind of desire, and that gives us that nice stable base that doesn't compress too much, whereas EVAs and very soft materials compress really quickly, which means they're really not very durable, and that they don't fit into the shoes quite as well as we want to. So we've got those covers on. I'll wait for that to dry for a second. Alright, so now that it's dried enough, we're just going to place this top cover on. Again, we place that base down first, flatten that out nice and smooth, and then we just poke down the top cover, making sure that we don't have any little bubbles or anything like that come up in there, and then we just press it down over the edges as well. There we go. From there, we're just going to template it over to get that shoe size. So with this one here, we're going to use a size 8 men's template, just because we like to have that a little bit bigger so that we can trim it up to the shoes afterwards. We'll trim up just around it. Again, it's important for this just to stick to that line to get that really nice template at the end, otherwise it can come out looking a little bit odd shaped. So there we go, they're all finished and done now. So as you can see, we've got that nice 4-foot shape going on, all beveled nicely around the sides on both of them. I've got them finished. It's there all ready for that patient to pick up.